Our world feels so broken, disjointed, polarized, hateful. So many people are hurting. The world is becoming so much more individualized, and with these tailored realities, we find ourselves alone. So, how do we come back? How do we reconnect in this crumbling world? I'd like to propose that awe is an answer. Moments where we feel small, to marvel at something greater and feel profound oneness. I hope to provide space in the next few minutes for us to share in this feeling, to find home in each other. Here are stories of awe. Right.
Hi, my name's Fahad.
Would you mind sharing a moment that you felt kind of awestruck with us?
Really, what comes to mind is a few days ago we went to Joshua Tree, and at Joshua Tree I took a walk around, let's say, 1 a.m. And I vividly remember just looking up and taking all of the stars in. It was a beautiful night, a beautiful view, but what made it even more beautiful was all of the voices, all of the giggles, all of the laughters I heard coming from the campfire where all my friends were. And in that moment, I was just so grateful of everybody around me. I was just so shocked by how supportive they are and how instrumental they are in my life. All of them, they're all my rocks, and I'm so glad that I met them.
My name is Jaya. I'm from Los Angeles and I'm a college student. My friend and I, during last summer, we had this really gorgeous sunsets when the water was warm, and that was a moment that I felt a lot of awe. I was in awe of the beauty of nature, of where I'm from, of my hometown, my ability to feel connected to my hometown. That feeling of when I return home and I drive the streets again, and that familiarity, I always feel awe. And then another time that I feel in awe of the world is when I read something really good. So especially, I think most recently, The Prince of Tides. I've been reading it right now. I read Gone Girl. So those books when you're kind of in the clutches of the book, and the book really has you. And I was just in awe of the power of language and literature. And yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
Jason Hansen. I'm a sophomore at Stanford. Yeah, I think most recently was, so me and a couple friends went on a hike, and then after we got in the car and it was like late at night, and we started playing some music in the car, and we're all just like vibing to the music, and then we drove home, but then we missed the turn to turn into where our home was, and then we just decided to keep driving. We drove for like hours after that, just listening to music, and it was like surreal. Like it was an amazing experience. Loving the music, we're all on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
My name is Catherine Mendoza. I'm 20 years old, and I am a sophomore in college. One of the first things that came to mind when you asked me this question was probably the time that I traveled to Spain, and specifically when I walked into El Prado Museum with just like a bunch of art pieces. Goya's there, and Vasquez. The best thing about it is just the fact that all of these artists experience different time periods, different things, or in way different social and economic classes, and the fact that they portrayed their life stories through those own pieces, and like I was in a building that like shared like everyone's story. I think was like the most amazing thing ever, and which is why I love art so much. Like it really like shows like not only the person's backstory but like the time period and like why they chose to direct their art to that particular like moment, you know? Like I feel like there's always like a reason why, and I just think that's like so amazing. Not only there, but like all of Spain in general. Like I went to 3 different cities, and like all of them were like so vastly different, but at the same time it was so human because it looked like every other like city or something that you would see anywhere, but yet like so different. I don't know, it's just amazing. Like I'm there being a tourist, but yet that's their everyday life, and like I'm not used to that. So like being there is just like, It's
Yeah.
really crazy.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Felt like I was in a movie. Every city I went, it felt like I was the main character in the
Literally.
movie. Literally, it was awesome.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
No, I love art.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing,
You're
and
welcome.
thanks for coming. Have a good day.
Thank you.
My name is Steve Spurka. I am a financial industry executive living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, so my story, I kind of remember the year. I want to say it was 2016. It was experiencing the solar eclipse in Nashville, Tennessee. So I got to give the backstory. You were like excited about this for years, that you wanted to go see it, and I had no interest in going to do this. It was going to be an 8-hour car ride to go see something. I was like, what if it's cloudy and this is going to be foolish? So you convinced the family. We went down there, we drove down, and I remember like the morning, like the day, and just hanging around, like people were just, starting to get their spots out. But the interesting thing was like nobody knew what to expect, right? Because no one, I'm guessing at least 99.9 had ever experienced, like, know what this was about. And then, you could tell as you got closer, like just people were just getting excited, but no one knew what to expect. But then in like the last couple of minutes, like it just got weird. All of a sudden in the middle of the day, the cicadas are chirping and the light got strange. And then all of a sudden the lights went out, and, you're with hundreds of people, and they're all experiencing this. They're all awestruck for the first time in their life. And it was just really cool to just experience that with a bunch of strangers. And like, you could tell people were like, because we all shared something that, you're never going to probably share with the rest of your life. And it was just, I'll never forget that like experience of like, just this awesome feat of nature to do it with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, I remember that. It was amazing. And the cheering, that was cool.
Yes.
Or like I don't know, there were so many little things. I didn't expect like people to like clap like that, but it felt very like one to me.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing, like nobody knew what to do. Like, I'm like, what do you do when this happens? Because like no one's experienced it. And like people started to cheer, but it was like, what are you cheering for? You're cheering for the moon being in front of this. Well, it's just like, I think you were cheering for like sharing this experience with a bunch of other people.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thanks for taking the time to do this interview.
You're welcome.
I am Rachel. I'm 20 years old and I go to Stanford. And like one of the most like distinct times is when, because like I'm from Huntington Beach, and so there's a lot of like pollution, and so you can never really see the stars. But I remember I went on a road trip with Matt up to Montana, and we stopped in Bryce Canyon, and like that was the first time that I'd ever seen like the sky look like that, and it just looked like this giant dome, and there was like so much like there, and you could like see the Milky Way, and I just remember like looking up and being like, wow, like this is insane. And I like maybe I started tearing up a little bit for some reason. I don't really know why.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the most notable time that I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Of course.
My name is Matt Reed, and I'm just chilling.
Yeah, perfect.
This isn't something grand or anything. I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but
It's good.
I find the most awe in the little things. And one of those things is the pleasure of waking up every morning and looking over to my side and seeing the most beautiful person in my entire life.
That's cute.
My girlfriend, Rachel.
Oh my
So
gosh.
pretty.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And she just sleeps there. That's my answer.
No, that's really cute. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
I'm Emily. I use she, her pronouns. I am a senior at Stanford, and yeah. I think one thing that comes to mind is earlier in college I used to do a cappella. I was really into like arranging music for my group, and so that meant that I had to like take a song that I liked and hear it in my head, but like hear all of the instruments as voices and kind of plan it out and write it out. And it was always very speculative. Like I was always learning about how to arrange better. And you always have to guess of like what is going to sound good when you translate it from a guitar to like a human voice, etc. And so actually there were a bunch of moments when I would like be awestruck because the first time that I would hear my written arrangement sung and get to hear that like speculation realized in person is like it never gets old. It's completely shocking and exhilarating, and it's so addictive. It makes me, keep going back for more.
Well, do you have like a specific song that like stands out, like you remember specifically, or
Hide and seek probably, because it requires such like locking in, but then when you do, like not only did I realize that something special was going on, but so did everybody else in the room. Actually, like, the first time that we sang it all together was great, but the best time we had learned it in it right before going on tour in New Orleans. So we were actually gonna meet up with a few other a cappella groups. When we met up with them and we were gonna do like a joint rehearsal. So we just would go around and each group would sing a different song from their set, and we just kept going. And suddenly we had run out of songs that we like knew really well. And so I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna debut Hide and Seek now because we have no other songs to sing. And nobody had heard it before. We had never sung it in public, so we were like, okay, I guess this is our test run. And as we started, like there was just this quiet between like the other two groups that were watching us, and they were like all holding their breath and they were like in shock, and like just feeding off of that energy made us feel really good. And so we all locked in, and there were just some amazing musical moments that gave me a great amount of awe. So, yeah.
that's why I love music.
Yeah, exactly.
The times I feel the most are always like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I miss performing with people.
I know, me
So
too.
much. And that's a
I
beautiful.
miss it so much.
Yeah, same. That's so beautiful though. And the silence thing. Silence
Yes,
is so powerful.
literally. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yes. No, I love that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that was
Thank you.
beautiful.
Of
Yeah.
course.
My name's Lee Ron. I'm from LA. I'm majoring in computer science and math. The last time I felt awestruck, it would have to be, it's kind of nerdy, it would have to be when I saw these crazy results of this AI model displaying nothing short of creativity. Usually AI models look at a bunch of data and they learn how to interpolate, they learn how to fill in the blanks, but it's seldom that you see results where they reach outside of the bounds that they've seen and done something truly new.
Wow.
And this paper was one of those examples where the authors enabled this model to draw creative abstract objects.
Yeah.
Like the sickest figure that I saw in the entire paper was it was one figure that showed a chair in the shape of an avocado and a door made out of gummy bears.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's nothing crazy. Like if I told you make a chair in the shape of an avocado, like you could probably do it.
Yeah.
And hey, put a bunch of gummy bears together to form a door, you could probably do it. But think of how crazy it is that a model was able to see enough chairs, gummy bears, doors, everything of that sort, and respond to the voice command and creatively draw something abstract like that.
Wow.
Like that is absolutely mind-blowing. It made me question what creativity can be. Like what abstract, I thought creativity used to be abstraction. I thought it used to be something like inherent to people that could come up with new, but what does that even mean? If a model can look at all of this and extrapolate and do something like that. Like that's when I saw those, I was like,
Dang, that's big. That's big.
So it was nuts. I know it was nerdy, but I think it was mind blowing.
That's cool. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Of course.
I'm Nicole. I remember in fall quarter we were in Ojai, and then we all went to the beach, and we were all playing football on the beach, and that was like one of like my favorite days. But then after that, we watched the sunset, and we all went in the water, and the water was like perfectly warm, and we were all just like together, like messing around, like watching just the sun, and it was just so pretty. And I was just like so happy to like be with everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was really fun.
That's so cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
My name is Chris, and I live in Muskego, Wisconsin. Let's see, one of my awe moments was serving on board my first U.S. Navy ship. It was a guided missile destroyer, and we were underway somewhere in the Sea of Japan, and the boat was rocking, and I was at the engineering deck, which was the lowest level of the ship, and you just start not feeling good, and you're just like miserable, and you've been up for so long, and the rocking back and forth has got your stomach just doing swirls inside, and you're not feeling well. So then I walk up to the signal bridge, which is the top of the ship. We were literally just entering a hurricane, and the ship was just crazy all over the place, and I could see waves coming over the bow of the ship. And for some reason, I just felt like, even though it seemed strange, that I was outside on top of the ship, which I was fastened down to. And the ship was just rocking, kind of like a empty can in a toilet bowl when you're being flushed. I just saw the awesomeness of just Mother Nature and the weather, and just, but yet how the ship was able to get through it. And not sure how, not sure why, but just the skill of everybody on board. And I was just in awe that we could build something like this that could actually travel through such a storm, and then watching the storm's impact and intensity, the waves crashing over. And it was just a really cool feeling that we could get through this and survive.
No, that's amazing. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Here have been some moments of awe. I hope that you found some shared experience here, and maybe even found yourself reflecting on moments in your own life when you felt awe. Broad, humbling, full, it's easy to forget about those moments in the everyday grind of life. As you return to your own lives, I humbly ask you to remember.